Pulling down the superhighway, and you are taking a ride.
There's a feeling of you don't want to be left behind.
Just drop a few billion in the toll booth, and you're in the fast lane.
The cross between the gold rush and the carpetbaggers after the Civil War.
Cable, computer, telephone, and TV programming companies are jockeying and joining forces to stake a claim.
We'll bet our company on it, but that's how committed we are to this future.
Big stakes.
Big opportunity.
Some believe there is a $1 trillion pot of gold at the end.
Because there's great interest out there. There's interest by the creative community. There's interest by customers.
Well, cable television is many things to many people, but complaints about rising prices and erratic picture quality do tend to mount up. In today's News 4 Extra, the Cable Busters, Lou Young tells us about a new alternative. Lou?
Well, Chuck, new federal rules have made it easier for upstart companies to begin competing with the cable TV giants. It's just the beginning, but don't be surprised if the Cable Busters come to your neighborhood soon.
Oh, your nose.
Sure, you. This is a big scale.
There are hearts.
How'd you like your first day?
For many of us, the multiple choices provided by cable TV are as much a necessity as electricity or phone service. It is so much a part of our lives, they write songs about it.
57 channels and nothing on. 57 channels and nothing on.
But your 57 channels, or 75 or 150, come at a price that's not negotiable. Uptown, you might pay Paragon Cable. Downtown, it's Manhattan Cable. Out in the boroughs, cable regional monopolies, at least until now. Now there is competition on the horizon. This new age of side rooftop, where signals are pulled out of the sky and retransmitted by microwave to individual buildings. It's cable television with a whole lot less cable.
We run a wire down the spine of the building, and it goes to the local wiring in each apartment, which is owned by the apartment dweller or the owner of that apartment.
An outfit called Liberty Cable is taking advantage of new federal regulations designed to encourage competition. Its operators say they've signed up 75 buildings so far, representing 25,000 Manhattan apartments. On each building, a receiving dish does what underground coaxial cable used to.
I understand the signal comes microwaved over across the buildings from somewhere on the east side. But to me, the signal looks...
I see the future of the wireless cable industry as being exceptionally bright. Interestingly enough, you mentioned Gary earlier, and 3-4 years ago, Gary was sharing a vision about what he saw would be taking place in the industry. And the things that he's mentioning are now coming to pass. Certainly the interest that the telephone companies have in wireless is indicative of the kind of business opportunities available.
Looking at how everything's going in telecommunications, this is the beginning of the wireless industry.
With all the vision and the ideas that he has, and for the future he's got set aside, and especially adding now digital, I'm so excited about what Gary's doing, and in fact, we probably would have lost all the investment I had made earlier if it had not been for Gary.
During this presentation, you're going to hear from Gary Nerlinger, the Managing Director of the Wireless Cable. He will discuss the most recent trends and updates pertaining to the exciting wireless cable industry. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Gary Nerlinger. First, Gary, I think we ought to let our viewers know a little bit about the history of Sky Cable and how you became the Managing Director.
Sure. About 2 years ago, I was formed the ad hoc committee for wireless development partners in Laredo and represented the investors and formed a group of interested parties to retake Sky Cable of Omaha TV. And I was elected by the majority of the investors to be the general managing director of Sky Cable. I was previously appointed by the Securities and Exchange Commission to be the general managing director of Sky Cable TV of Omaha. And subsequently, we reorganized Sky Cable TV, and now we're in a position to go forward. What I found is that we had 4 channels that was not enough to compete with the hardwire cable systems, and that prompted myself and basically the holy grail of the wireless cable industry found was Decathlon Communications.
That sounds like a tall order, Gary, considering the conditions of the system before you were brought into the company to take over.
Yes, Destin, it was a very tall order. However, we believe that we were up to the task of meeting the objectives and making Sky Cable TV of Omaha a prosperous and viable system. First thing that we did is we went after the digital compression from Decathlon Communications and signed the first exclusive rights agreement in the industry. We're very proud of that. Second, we brought in the proper management people to handle the various tasks of moving the tower and bringing in additional channel capacity through other licenses. And we've recently formed a joint venture with Digital Broadcast Corporation, and we are in the position now to go forward by bringing the financing in, and not only to help Sky Cable TV of Omaha, but many other systems throughout the country.
So the problems were not enough channel capacity and not enough money.
Exactly, Destin. We have channel capacity, and the digital compression technology allows not only us, Sky Cable TV of Omaha, but the whole industry, and make a viable competitor of wireless cable. We see ourselves as having a distinct advantage because we have the exclusive rights to the digital technology.
So what impact will the telephone companies have with the wireless cable industry?
That's the great news. The telephone is a great endorsement of our approach to the wireless cable business. They have stated publicly that they will be utilizing. The telephone companies are getting into wireless cable in a very big way, and it's because of digital compression. Digital Broadcast Corporation, wireless cable properties, including a joint venture with Sky Cable TV of Omaha and Mobile Wireless TV. This is not only bringing the digital technology to the wireless cable industry, but has also been focused in bringing the financing, which is very critical for the success of these various systems.
Sounds like you're in the process of making lemonade out of a lemon.
You know, I couldn't agree with you more. I felt all along, Destin, that once we had digital technology, we would be able to provide the consumer a better product and capture at least a 10 to 15% penetration for our investors.
With digital compression coming on and everything, I was real excited, and I put a lot of money into this, and I'm a firm believer in this company. His knowledge, his expertise of what's going on, I think his role in this is very vital, and I think it's going to be very successful.
I believed in Gary. I believed in what he stood for. The thing is that he had caused his parents to invest their money, and I don't think he wanted his parents to lose their money. So that faith, which we all must have, is what I had in Gary to this day. I see the future of wireless cable as one that will explode in the not too far future. And when I say explode, I mean every company, every organization that is, and I see it as a money-making venture.
In the matter of say, the most major role. In fact, he did everything that could be done. He completely turned around the company. What looks to be a great success.
The Omaha wireless cable market. Let's look at some choice programming that will be offered. A&E, CNN, the Discovery Channel, the Movie Channel, USA Network, the Sci-Fi Channel, Lifetime Television, MTV, CNBC, Country Music Television, WGN, and Playboy.
The opportunities that are going to unfold because of all of the new technologies and emerging market segments that are going to come together make it an opportune time to announce our strategic vision. Network vision is going to be about $20 billion between now and the end of this decade.
Now, $20 billion, much of that to come from partners, correct?
Yes, we will certainly line up partners for various endeavors that we will get into.
This industry that's in the middle of the biggest single investment boom ever made in a single technology in history.
And I just would like, at least, that acknowledgement of the role which the 1992 Cable Act played towards the goal of expanding competition. That is the 18-inch dish.
The problem you have with Time Warner is they've been a monopoly from day one.
As Vice President of Sales at Smith Barney, Edmund Simmel takes money seriously. He wasn't happy that his monthly cable TV bill totaled well over $100. Yet he became incensed when Time Warner refused to use cable conduit already built into the walls of his building.
What wanted to do was come in from the roof with cables using the stairwells and hug the ceiling with molding, and that way run the cable into each opponent.
The manner it did here, covered by plastic molding, Time Warner allegedly threatened to sue. Then Simmel learned that this virtual monopoly had a competitor.
One, a better picture, half the price. It was a no-brainer. It was a slam dunk.
Live from New York is Comcast President Brian Roberts. Mr. Roberts, thanks for being with us. Appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
Let me just ask you first.
Well, it's just begun this morning, and we had the various industries and what they see coming for the future. The telephone companies' attitude continues to evolve. They just, two of them just announced they were buying wireless cable.
Which two were those?
Bell Atlantic and 9X, and so that seems to be somewhat of a departure from their strategy of building their network.
The regional Bell operating companies will also help develop certain technologies like digital compression, which would allow the delivery of up to 100 channels using wireless cable. By the way, the spectrum could also be used to deliver telephone and online services if the RBOC so desire. Doug Carey, an analyst over at Rodman and Renshaw, says that the Baby Bell investment is key here. The industry, wireless cable, has been relatively undercapitalized considering the amount of programming that it could deliver. The arrival of the Bell companies will spur further financing as well as technology development. He says the RBOCs have been quietly watching, waiting for the industry to prove itself. Let's look at some others in the group as they're all higher.